Hi. So I discovered this thing, and apparently not everybody can do it. Um, I've been working on uh, some core training and strengthening of my core so that my back doesn't hurt as much because I broke it in 3 places. Um, right here at my lumbar, just above my hip, between C5 and C6, and at my atlas. And I also bulged a disc at T5. So, yeah, my back hurts like all the time, and I get compression in my lumbar as well. Um, I broke the left top of my, well, not the top, but this way down my hip. And there's like an inch of extra bone there that just shouldn't be there, and as a result, well, I don't know if that's the result, but it certainly didn't help. Now my right leg is a full inch longer than my left. I don't know how that happens when the extra bone was on the left. You'd think the left would be longer. Apparently not. Maybe that's why it's broken, because of the stress of walking funny, kind of just, it tried to right itself. I don't know. But either way, that's not germane to the subject. The actual point here is that I do have, I think the doctor actually said that I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I don't recall. I'll have to ask my PCM if that's actually in my chart or not, because it should be, because it also affects my heart and my vasoconstrictive disorder, as well as my temperature, and the fact that like my feet just go numb and black sometimes when I put too much pressure on them for too long. And recently I've been having some heart palpitations that like I can feel when it skips a beat. Sometimes it happens when I exercise, sometimes it just happens when I'm really sick and stretch too much. It just happens, but I'm also really flexible. As you can see, I'm sitting on the ground, but like really on the ground. Like if I sit up, you can't really see my face, it's not really in frame. So like I could just kind of be all the way back here and just kind of try to balance if I wanted to, but you know, that's practically planking, or do like a Russian twist and, you know, work on my core strength that way, maybe some weight, but that kind of puts a lot of strain on my back, so I don't necessarily want to do that. But I have been working slowly on the core exercises with my barbell here, which, as you can see, I don't have a lot of weight on, but it's just enough to put a little bit of strain because I want to slowly build up. Because if you slowly build up, it'll stay longer, essentially. But I've also been working on my arms because I tend to overcompensate with my shoulders and arms because of my weak back. So, like, that puts an additional strain on my back if my core is weak, but I'm using my arms and using my legs and not the core. But I've always had some core strength, and I've always had pretty strong arms and legs anyway. I think that's probably because, you know, your organs are in your core. There's not a lot of muscle around the trunk, and what is there is kind of thin, not like the larger muscles here of your bicep or your, you know, thighs or your calves. They're larger muscle groups. It's like when you get a shot, it's usually in your arm or your leg or your glute. Because those are larger muscles. But I can tell that I've been getting some progress in working with my core because I can actually now see the linea alba, which is it's not exactly a tendon, it's fibrous tissue that runs from the bottom of your sternum to your belly button. And I can actually see it when I like really flex my stomach, not necessarily suck it in, but really flex it. I can kind of see it. So, hey, maybe I'll get some abs eventually. Never had those. I don't think I've ever had a flat stomach since high school. And that's just because, you know, Ritalin has the same chemical composition as speed, just about. And, yeah, you'll stay real skinny. Does other things to your body, though. Not great. However, core strength. Like, I can actually sit on a chair and lift myself up and lift up my legs, you know, and still be able to hold myself there for a good solid minute or so. I can plank for a lot longer now, but I've always wanted to learn how to do like a flip or a handstand. I can sort of cartwheel, but man, I've seen so many people eat it trying to do it, mainly my sister. It just doesn't look fun. And I already have a neck injury, so I don't necessarily want to do that to myself. I mean, if I landed just right, I'd crumple. And maybe not get up. That doesn't sound like a good time. But a backflip would be really cool, and I've always wanted to learn how to do it. I'm part of the way there because I can bend over really far without falling. I can back bridge from standing. It is a bit of a fall, though. It's a controlled fall, but still. I mean, maybe I can show you. I don't know if I can stay in frame enough to do it. Sorry, this mat is really loud. You can't really see it, can you? But you might be able to shortly, because, like, I can bend over pretty far before I fall. And yeah, I move weird, sorry. Like, my knee just bends. Be like water. But the other thing I can do is I can rest my knees on my elbows and get my feet up off the ground. Sounds really weird, but looks even weirder. Yeah. So I do have to use my neck a little bit, but I don't know how many other people can do this, honestly, and it does take a little bit of effort. What I'd like to be able to do is actually get my head up, but I don't have the strength for that, and I don't know how many other people can actually do this. Like, it's kind of weird. I do have a neck injury, and I can do this. Why? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But, like, not a lot of it makes sense. So, why can I do most of the things I can do? Because of the hypermobility. Does it have other side effects? Absolutely. But, like, I kind of showed it last time, but I can just kind of fold my leg all the way up to myself, and then just kind of fold over into like a little backpack. Like, if you really wanted to get rid of me, you could just fold me into a backpack. It might have to be a pretty big backpack. I do weigh a bit, and I do take up some room, but clearly not that much. I'm only about 5'5", and anywhere in between 160 and 150. That seems to be where my body is the happiest, no matter what I do to try and lose weight. It just wants to sit there. And then I start to gain muscle mass, and I get even heavier because I gain muscle mass really easily. And yes, I can just bend my foot over. Like, what are we doing even? I don't know. Why? Why even? I don't know. It just sort of happens. And it's not exactly uncomfortable. I mean, I think people think it hurts, and that's why they're kind of shocked. It doesn't, though. It does create a little bit of tension, especially if I try to bend my back. I wish I had something to actually bend against, but I can only really bend against myself at this point. But I can, you know, do like about 180. And it doesn't really hurt. If I had a chair, I'd use the back of it and go even further. But yeah, I can go the other way just as far. So, I don't know why other people can't do these things. Oh, neat party trick that a lot of people, makes them uncomfortable. But not in the way you think. because it's a connective tissue disorder. Everything is stretchy. Everything stretches too far. But everything, it's a muscle. If you work at it and you break the connections, but you rebuild those connections, you can eventually like stretch your muscles. And that's why I can, you know, dislocate fingers and toes and everything. But it also affects the muscle. It affects the blood vessels. That's why Ehlers-Danlos also affects the heart. But, you know, I could just show you. It's about 2.5 inches. Yes, I've measured it because it's funny. Why wouldn't I? But it causes uncomfortable situations. I have a talent. An inappropriate one. And yes, I know how to use it. I can whistle. In and out. I can make that really weird noise that people can do when they hum and whistle at the same time. You kind of have to start humming first and... I can make a bathtub. I can't make the clover. I want to learn how to do that so bad. But I think that's one of those things that just takes an absorbent amount of brain power and like other stuff has to go. But, enough talking, right? Does my ex miss me? Maybe. I don't know. I bet he's watching at some point because he's subscribed to this channel, which is really funny. Oh, baby, sorry about your luck. I don't miss you. Anyway, yeah, I just think it's really funny that, like, I can do things that other people can't, but it is at a cost. And it did save my silly butt from actually dying when I broke my neck. How many other people do you know broke their neck in 2 places and are still walking and talking? Not many. But, you know, that story's for another time, right? Because it's a stupid one. It's really stupid. I got a lot of stories like that. Oh, how come you don't have a tailbone anymore? Well, ooh, that's a nasty story with a lot of other things going on. But I think that's enough for this time. Let me know if, like, you know anybody else who can put their knees on their elbows and get their feet up. Because I think the next step is being able to get my feet up and get my head off the ground. Because I'm able to stabilize it with the top of my head. But I think at some point, if I get my shoulders strong enough, I'll be able to push away from the ground and actually do like a handstand. That'd be really boss. But like I said, a backflip would be pretty awesome too. And I'm pretty close to it, as you can tell, like, woo, really far over. And if I had more room in here, I could actually bridge over and get onto my hands and then try to get up onto my feet. But that's a slow motion backflip. I want a little better. But core training first. Gotta have a strong core. You know, it's really funny. Try to guess my age. You really can't, can you? That's also part of the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Like, it's a connective tissue disorder, which is also a collagen disorder. Like, it's really gross sometimes. But, like, you're not seeing a lot of wrinkles, are you? I'm an ageless vampire. I don't look my age. I have a blood disorder, and I prefer being out at night. I've always been a night person. I'm a vampire. Don't let anybody tell you elsewise. Yeah. So, I'm not going to tell you my age. I had a 0 here this year, and I'm living with my parents because I know that they have maybe 7-10 good years left before I'm going to have to start caring for them. And because I'm, you know, a CNA and I will be going to school to become an LPN or an RN, I will be taking care of them. I've already had that discussion with both of my siblings, and neither one of them want to take care of them for obvious reasons. They're terrible people. who have done terrible things to their children. And there's a reason they don't have friends. Yeah, and I live with them. Well, you know, another story for another time. But yeah, just, I want to know if anybody else can do that, like, half-assed handstand. It's pretty interesting. More. As I get better, maybe I'll do more. But for now, I'll see you later. Bye.